If you would like to see a fight take place between Khamzat Chimaev and Kamaru Usman, then be sure to show this by smashing the like button. Thank you for joining me once again, and welcome back to Keenan K TV. In this video, let us go over the potential fight between Kamaru, the Nigerian nightmare Usman, and Khamzat Borz Chimaev. But more specifically, look into why Kamaru Usman will be able to defeat Khamzat Chimaev. I have already made a video talking about why Khamzat can win, so be sure to check that one out by clicking the end screen card when this video ends. With that being said, be sure to also join us on Discord and follow me on Instagram with the link in the description below, and let's jump right into the video.
You know, this guy wants to fight every weekend.
6 to 8 wolves with a dominant leader, alpha male, at the top. He leads the hunt and usually eats first.
They call this guy Khabib 2.0.
Your winner by TKO and still undefeated, Khamzat Borz Chimaev.
One of the big stars of Fight Island this past weekend is Khamzat Chimaev. Do you worry that it's going to be difficult to get him fights with ranked opponents?
Where is the ceiling for you? Where is your limit?
I can fight after 1 hour, maybe. If you give me one fight, if somebody injured, just tell me. I'm here in Abu Dhabi. I'm gonna smash everybody.
do you look at the welterweight division and see anybody that can challenge you right now? I mean, we need to find someone that can slow you down.
Doesn't matter, everybody. I'm gonna smash everybody.
Just smash everybody.
Power is everything. Power is respect, power is distance, power is control, and power is devastation in the realm of mixed martial arts. And in the welterweight division, Kamaru Usman has been proving himself time in and time out that he is indeed the most powerful and the most devastating fighter at this current moment of time. Now at the same time, there is a rising name, Khamzat Chimaev, who has been just taking the entire UFC by storm, not just in the welterweight division but also in the middleweight division. He has been knocking out and dismantling opponents in both divisions for years now, and he's just getting into the UFC. So somewhere down the line, I believe these two fighters will go at it, and when they do go at it, one of them has to take the first step backwards. Now when it comes to Khamzat Chimaev, he is a fighter whom I would be labeling as a complete smasher and a destroyer in this sport. You do not have many fighters like him. Kamaru Usman is somebody like him. Khabib Nurmagomedov is a destroyer. Justin Gaethje is also a destroyer. Conor McGregor, Peter Yan, Francis Ngannou. What these fighters have all in common is the ability to go ahead and finish their opponents at the very high level. We have seen over the years, as the sport has been progressing, that finishes and devastating knockouts have been declining as you climb higher and higher in the rankings. Now when it comes to Kamaru Usman right now, the fact that he has been able to dismantle all of his opponents like Tyron Woodley, Colby Covington twice, Jorge Masvidal twice, and not just only that, he has been able to knock them down and finish them. He finished Jorge Masvidal and he has finished Colby Covington in the first fight, and he was also about to do it again in the second fight. I mean, the way that Colby Covington fought Kamaru Usman was surprising. In the first 2 rounds, he was so afraid, he was so timid of that big blow finally connecting on him, and when it did, you kind of gave him your understanding and you were like, okay, now I understand why he was so timid, because when that big blow connected, he was all over the place and he was about to be finished. So right away, in terms of competition that Khamzat Chimaev has faced, Kamaru Usman is going to be the biggest difference in skill gap that he has ever witnessed thus far in his mixed martial arts career, because all of the opponents that he has faced so far do not have what Kamaru Usman has. What does Kamaru Usman have? Speed, power, spatial awareness, that alpha mentality of not going backwards and always trying to come forward and dominate the opponent, the ability to take a punch and give one harder back, the ability to be solid defensively in the grappling department, the fact that he has superior physicality than the opponent, additionally with tremendous cardio that can go 5 rounds. You're really looking at the biggest and the most fine specimen the welterweight division has seen in a very long while, and that is why he's currently the the world champion, and that is why he is dominating these top contenders the way he is. And when you look at those attributes in comparison to the opponents Khamzat Chimaev has faced, you will see that all of these opponents, they do not even have a single thing in comparison to what Kamaru Usman has. So right away, logic suggests that Khamzat Chimaev is not going to be having an easy time against Kamaru Usman. Looking at the technicality of this fight, when this fight does take place and these two fighters are face to face, right away, Kamaru Usman, in my opinion, will be the fighter who will come forward and control the middle of the octagon. Because as we know, Khamzat Chimaev, at least in the UFC, the way he has opened up his fights is by throwing a feint, level changing, and shooting him for the takedown. In my opinion, I mean, he's not going to be taking down Kamaru Usman with such ease, and if he is, then I stand completely corrected. However, up until then, I am just going to be assuming that he's not going to be having an easy time taking him down, thus making me believe that Khamzat Chimaev will be approaching this fight a little bit more calm, a little bit more cautious. Because if he is not cautious and if he's not calm, then chances are that he will be running into a big right hand of Kamaru Usman, and before you know it, Khamzat can get hurt, dropped, and finished. So he will have to be smart in this matchup. Experience is something that no matter how much skill that you have, no matter how talented that you are, you just cannot rush this really big factor in a fighter. Experience is almost everything. The way you're going to be handling your opponent, the way you're going to be handling your own body in the ring, the way you're going to be pacing yourself, the way you're going to be attacking anything is all based on your experiences in that octagon. And so far, Kamaru Usman has had more rounds, tougher opponents, tougher fights, and in my opinion, he has also learned more than Khamzat Chimaev, which brings with itself the ability to adapt himself to whatever situation presents itself. And for right now, Khamzat Chimaev is not going to be the one who will be able to do that, because as Taddy Atlas once said, you're not really in a fight until there is resistance. Up until then, you're not going to be learning as much, because so far in the career of Khamzat Chimaev, the man has had barely any resistance. And so when he's put in a fight against a champion, how will he do against some adversity? How will he look like if Kamaru Usman decides to go ahead and give him a really hard time? Will he fold? Will he rise to the occasion? In my opinion, so far Khamzat Chimaev has shown nothing to worry about. It seems like he's not going to be having any problems rising to the occasion. However, in the end, only time will tell. But up until then, let us move over and analyze the striking of both fighters. When we're taking a look at the striking game, obviously you would have to give the advantage to Kamaru Usman. Over the years, we have seen that no matter how active you are against Kamaru Usman, if you do not possess the ability to successfully connect your opponent and successfully hurt them and drop them, then you're really going to be fighting an uphill battle from the get-go. Now obviously Khamzat Chimaev has great power in his hands. What he does lack, in my opinion, are nuances, variety, and experience in the striking department. There's going to come a time in that fight where I believe that Khamzat Chimaev is going to be showing his inexperience and lack of boxing skill or striking skill in general. He has a lot of power to make up for that, true. However, against somebody who is the champion, you're going to be needing just a little bit more than just power. You're going to have to be smart with it, and if you are not smart with it, then all of your efforts are going to be simply going unreturned, especially when you have an opponent who will come forward and press the action and stick behind their jab and straight. And at that point, Khamzat Chimaev will be having to show us defense, defensive striking, defensive footwork, defensive head movement, everything. Because at that point, trying to shortcut your way into a clinch or shooting for a takedown is not going to be saving you in the long run against Usman in that ring. The more you get desperate, the more you get hit, the more quickly you start to crack. And against Kamaru Usman, sooner or later, that devastating big blow will connect and you will be hurt. I believe that Khamzat Chimaev has a great chin, but even he is human. So I believe the best defense that Khamzat Chimaev can have in this matchup is his offense. And I do not really see Khamzat Chimaev being able to consistently back up Kamaru Usman. Kamaru Usman is one of those fighters who just seemingly are immune of taking the back step and just being cornered and backed up the entire fight. He's physically just too strong to just give up that. He's like a bull. It's like when Canelo Alvarez fought Triple G. We know that Canelo Alvarez is the fighter who likes to come forward and press the action and pin the opponent up against the ropes and tee off on them. In the first fight against Triple G, you quickly saw Canelo Alvarez being on the outside and using predominantly his defense. And in the second fight, these two fighters were toe-to-toe and they just just fought it out in the middle of the octagon and no fighter took the first step backwards. So I believe that Kamaru Usman is also cut from the same cloth. So if Khamzat wants to go ahead and back up Kamaru Usman, he will have to hurt him and he will have to take him down and keep him down. Give something to Kamaru Usman to worry about. Make him scared of something. Otherwise, he's not going to be going in there and backing up just because you come forward. It's not going to happen. Now, the area where we can say that Chimaev is the strongest is the grappling department. So let's take a look at the grappling department. With Chimaev coming from the Dagestan Chechen region and also having a combat sambo background, it is no secret that when it comes to submission fighting, controlling the opponent and completely smashing them on the mat, that right now Chimaev is probably going to be the better fighter at that, just purely based on that. But the reality is that in this division, Kamaru Usman truly has the best takedown defense. Because Colby Covington, he got dragged down momentarily, but we cannot really say that he got completely taken down and put on his back. That is just not something that has happened thus far. And against Khamzat Chimaev, in my opinion, the fact that Kamaru Usman so far has had pretty much every single takedown stuff defended is going to be a great sign against somebody who looks to take you down from the get-go. How will Khamzat Chimaev deal with that? I'm not too sure, but for the most part, I do believe that Kamaru Usman will be defending a good portion of his takedowns. Now, Khamzat Chimaev is probably going to be the biggest fighter that Kamaru Usman has faced. The man comes from the middleweight division. He's very tall, very rangy, very strong, and so he's going to be bigger and stronger than Colby Covington, for example. And so obviously Usman is going to be having a harder time against Chimaev than he had against Covington, but the defense still stands. And if he's able to get Khamzat Chimaev off of him and resume the striking action where I believe that Usman is better than him at, then I believe that for the most part it will be a fight where Kamaru Usman will be scoring more than Khamzat Chimaev. And as I touched on the defense side of things for Khamzat Chimaev, you know, how will he be able to deal with Kamaru Usman when he comes forward? How will his defensive striking look like? But the real question still lies in the fact that how will his grappling defense look like? We know that, for example, all of these guys who come from that region, they're the ones taking the opponent down. But like I said, Kamaru Usman is a very, very strong wrestler. And if you're not going to be taking him down and keeping him down, then be sure to do the same thing to him. And if you can't do that, then you're just in a world of trouble. And if we take a look at Khamzat Chimaev, most of his work is offensive, and he's only really had one opponent who was able to stuff all of his takedowns. That was Ikram in Brave FC. And for the most part, Khamzat Chimaev just continuously went back to the takedown. He got very eager, he got very nervous, and luckily for him, he has great power in his hands. He was able to drop Ikram and then proceed to knock him out with that beautiful uppercut. But obviously his takedowns are not 100% successful all the time also. So there is a good chance that Kamaru Usman will be able to defend against Khamzat Chimaev. Now let us move over to the final part of this video, stamina. As I touched upon it earlier, when it comes to experience, more rounds, tougher opponents, the ability to adapt, you cannot do any of these things if you don't have the stamina or the conditioning. When you're going into a fight and you're completely smashing the opponent and you are the dominant fighter, it is easy to maintain your stamina. I haven't seen any fights where Khamzat Chimaev has had big trouble, and I haven't really seen Khamzat Chimaev go into the deep end and fight a very active fight. I don't doubt the fact that he can go 5 rounds, but we just haven't seen it yet, so we cannot be sure. But when it comes to Kamaru Usman, we are definitely more sure than Chimaev. And so all in all, if you look at the total package, we will see that Kamaru Usman is going to have the better, crisper, stronger, effective striking in my opinion. He's going to have great takedown defense. He's going to have great conditioning. He is very experienced. He has a lot of rounds. He has a lot of abilities. He's got great fight IQ. He comes forward. He tries to take you out. He is a dangerous fighter. 2 dangerous fighters going at it. One is more experienced. One is more successful than the other. And so far, it looks like the champion is going to be, in my opinion, the favorite to win that fight. But leave in the comment section down below who you think will win come fight night. Be sure to also join us on Discord and follow me on Instagram with the links below. And as always, in the end, only time will tell what will truly happen. For now, I have been Keenan from Keenan KTV, signing off. Later.